Hello everyone. I decided to go ahead and try to lift the bees up today, and they have been uplifted. Put a cinder block on top of the one that's in the ground to get them further up so that there's less dirt splattering up on the hives. And it also makes it easier for me because I don't have to bend over so much trying to deal with them up here. So that's cool. This hive, I got back into it about 4 or 5 days ago. I got in there and they were just not happy. Today they behaved themselves pretty well though, and I got in there. What happened was they got so mad that I decided to leave them alone for a little bit. So there was one empty space in there where there should be a frame, you know, like that frame sitting down there covered in comb. But anyway, they built, you see that big piece of comb, and that it's a little darker in some of it, but that big piece of comb, practically an entire comb they built in 4 days in that space. And I had to pull it out because it was stuck to the lid, and then I put the new frame in there, and then I added a second box on top, so that, and 10 frames in there so they could build. And as you can see, I put peppermints in the front across the entrance of all the hives. And this one I had to open up to put them inside to help keep the hive beetles out of there. Now, what you can't see right now is these bees are coming all around this phone. They don't like it. That's where you put a feeder, but they can eat those there. Anyway, just regular peppermints with the peppermint oil. The peppermint oil is what does it. Drives off the hive beetle problem. But yeah, as you can see, that those combs were full of nectar, so now they're out here getting the nectar out of the comb, and they should start packing it in. It won't go to waste. Some of it in the center there is capped honey, and they're getting that too. And all will be left out here is wax. So I haven't got sugar water. That's just plain water, so they don't have to worry about finding as much water. Although there's plenty for them to find out here. But the reason is because I just put this second box on top, which is full of empty frames, and look, all those bees are in there already. They've already occupied it pretty much. They're all up in there. There were so many bees in there. Some of those frames you can see actually had some old empty I mean, it's got wax in it, but it doesn't have any honey or anything. And we got some hive beetles. The bees are chasing out, which I just got all those. Yeah, they are ready for another box for sure. All those bees have moved up in here already. This box just was not here a while ago, and now they're up here. Those frames in the center there came out of the plastic nuke size. If y'all recall, I told you that nuke had failed because there wasn't a strong enough colony in it, and it was too open to invasion. So hive beetles and a few wax moths caused the bees to leave the hive. It's one of those plastic ones there. The bees left, and by the time I opened it up, all the honey had been robbed out by the other bees, and the ants were already in there killing the hive beetle larvae and eating them. So I took the frames here, which could have eggs and larvae in there, but I scraped out the stuff that looked like it was, and had the invasion in it, and then took these that still that had the comb that still looked good. I put it in a freezer. And the freezer should kill the eggs of the wax moths and the hive beetles that were in there. And so now the bees they'll look in all those cells, they'll clean out the cells, they'll repair all the damage, and then start using that comb for well, probably here in the center they will probably lay some eggs in these. That's why I put the old comb in the middle, and then the new frames that haven't had anything on them before are on the outside. That's where they'll put the honey. Typically that's what they do, is put the honey on the outside and the brood in the center. And then if I put another box in here, there wouldn't be brood in the third box typically, because they build their brood nest as a kind of a spherical region inside this. And they want to keep it close to the entrance as well, which is down there. So imagine a spherical region inside there towards the bottom, and that's where they'll keep their brood. But that may expand a little bit into this top box. So that's why I put that old comb in the center. They'll put their brood in there. We won't try to harvest that for honey. Only the new frames on the outside will have brand new honeycomb, brand new wax, and honey in it. And it won't be funny honey, they call it, when you feed sugar water. And the bees will make honey out of that sugar water, but it's just not the same as natural nectar made into honey. And you wouldn't want to sell people sugar water, although this won't be sold. This will probably be used on site, not by me, of course, because I don't really care for honey. I certainly don't need the extra sweets. So it's still kind of a mess in there with cross comb and stuff. Like the two combs over here are okay, but at some point I'm going to have to get in there and clean this up. The bees built stuff all wonky because they really don't like this plastic. These plastic frames, and then these wooden ones, which you can put the plastic foundation in. They really don't like building on it, and there's a lot of beekeepers out there recommending that you add extra wax, melt some wax and brush it on, because this does have wax on it, but it's just not enough. And the bees will, like a lot of times, they'll start building the comb on this, centered on the edge instead of on the foundation, as the center of the comb. So they'll have this comb coming down here, and it won't be attached here. They'll be walking up behind it, and it just doesn't work for what we're trying to do. So you kind of have to make them do it. And really the best way to do it is you put a full comb like that one there. It's built out already. So when they start to build on this, it kind of forces them to have to build on the foundation, because there's not enough room to build it off that edge right there. And so they'll actually build on the foundation. It makes them do it. So they call it checkerboarding when you put a comb, a frame with a built-out comb, then an empty frame in between it and another built-out frame. So anyway, these guys, they're buzzing around my head. They don't really like the dang camera, the phone, but they're not stinging. So it's just kind of annoying at this point. And those just a few hive beetles there that they probably run up out of the bottom as they moved up. So, and with the peppermint in the front, there should not be any hive beetles being able to access the box at all for a while until they eat the peppermint. So I'm gonna try to put this lid on. There's some bees in the corner. Well, this is how we'll deal with that. I don't know if you'll be able to see them. I think I only got one good hand trying to do this. There. So when I did that, I knocked those bees off in front of the hive. And that way I didn't squish any when I put the lid back on. Anyway, there's a bee update for you. Some people might think I'm laying this peppermint on heavy, but I don't like seeing a single beetle in the box. So now these here, they really probably don't need that much help because this entire entrance is completely clogged up with a big clump of bees at night. Like there's nothing getting in there at night for sure. Yeah, look how close I can get. Yeah. All right. See y'all later.